or as graduates who have completed their studies to explore, to demonstrate, and to disseminate circular economy and sustainable strategies for the built environment. So through our engagement in the design challenge, we will be able to understand circular economy, to understand the sustainable strategies specifically for the built environment. And our first edition is the one that you are here to take part in, which will be establishment of model lactation facilities in universities and colleges to provide agenda-responsive workspaces for staff and students. We have already laws and policies backing our engagement or the activity we'll be doing. We have the Health Act 2017. So what do we aim to achieve? Through the challenge, we'll be able to train on sustainable design and circular construction. 2, we'll provide you mentorship in design. 3, we'll be able to work together to mobilize materials and funds for the designs, for the construction of the designs that we shall have submitted. And also, we'll be able to test re-engineered components of the one-to-one pilot, the material that we'll be using for the construction. Yes, we'll be using second-hand material, so materials that are considered as waste. So we have to test the integrity of this material so that we're satisfied that the material we use for the construction will give us the same building and safety that we get as well from buildings that we pick up with the new materials. Also, we'll be able to do the actual construction of the designs that we shall have submitted. What outcomes? Post the challenge, we expect that those of us who have registered and are proceeding will be able to have acquired in-depth knowledge of sustainability and circular construction. Working in teams, you'll be able to learn to collaboratively work together, given the different background within the group. Then we have to also be able to appreciate and learn to use appropriate tools and materials while managing real construction, as I've told you previously. So the designs you submit will not just stop at you submitting the design and winning. We'll go ahead to make sure that your design is constructed in that perspective. Then we have to create a circular model built environment around creativity, innovation, and enterprise. As we are constructing the lactation facilities, we'll be working towards improving the health of the children and mothers as they are working, promote decent employment for women, creation of employment. You understand that your designs will be constructed. So through that process, there are very many people involved in that process to create employment. Then also employment creation through innovation. With partnerships, as we've been told, we work best through partnering with different organizations to support our initiatives. That said, we are available on all the social media platforms. On Facebook, you can find us on Endelevu and at Nico Green KE. On Twitter, find us at Endelevu_Africa and Nico Green KE. On Instagram as well, Endelevu.Africa and Nico Green. On Instagram, we are at Endelevu_Africa. On YouTube, our channel is Endelevu. On WhatsApp, you can reach out to us via 254 772 612 841 for any inquiries. Also, you have a website I've mentioned in the initial slide. You can also check through what we are doing and also follow us on this social media platform for constant updates on our programs and projects on how you can be involved. Thank you very much. That is all from my end. I'll invite Nixon to take us through the technical aspects of the design challenge. Then we'll proceed from there.
All right. Thank you once again, Matano, for that overview. Probably before we proceed, it would be important just to get feedback so far and any questions. If there are any questions or points that need clarification, we can take. So allow me just to open the floor for us for reactions so far. Anyone with some questions or just comments? You can either, if you have an issue with audio, you can text it on the chat, or you can raise your hand and unmute, then raise your question. Anyone? Okay. I presume that silence means we are okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Any question or comment before we proceed? Good. Should there be any, just drop it on the chat. We would be able to pick it and respond. Okay, so I would move to the next session of today. Today's session wouldn't really be long. It's more of just an induction. I'm going to take us through the program for the challenge, especially what we are going to be doing this week as we prepare ourselves to begin the actual work. So allow me to project the screen once again, the file I shared, so that we can just discuss it. Give me a minute to share. Make me a host. Okay, as I'm waiting to share, I think my colleague Matano mentioned that the goal of the challenge is to raise as crowdsourced designs. I would just like to emphasize that as a firm, we are able actually to design the facilities by ourselves and be able to cost them and also build them. But we opted intentionally not to do that. That we better allow students and unemployed graduates who are more creative to have the opportunity to really showcase their potentials, their skills, their competencies to design these facilities and engage them in the construction. So that is really the objective. So far, you have registered about 8 groups, and these 8 groups all will have their proposals. Of course, we'll have the winning proposals for most sites. I think most of you have chosen sites within the city. So there is no design, even though there would be winners number 1, 2, and 3 based on the grading. No design would be discarded. We would be able to avail this. As some of you may have seen even through the media about our engagement. Our vision is to construct 500 Nyonyesha hubs across different institutions, in all the universities, in all the TVETs, in other public spaces like courtrooms, police stations, marketplaces, transport hubs. So if you look at all those spaces, they have different use needs. They are based in different climatic contexts. So we need different typologies, different design solutions that address all those areas. So what will be happening is that at the end of the challenge, this first edition, we look forward to having 8 different proposals. We'll have 8 different design proposals. Now, these design proposals will be curated, they will be exhibited, both, of course, physically during the award sessions, but also will be curating them and exhibiting them online so that people can also see them, can also see and appreciate the skills and the faces behind those proposals. And this is different from what has been done in competitions across the country. I know some of you may have participated in competitions. They do a tremendous job, but I don't believe in that they really harness the full potentials of what these young people spend a lot of energy on their efforts to be able to put together. So all of you who participate in the challenge have an opportunity to work with us in constructing those facilities. So why we insist on this training and this, we take it very seriously, is because we want to be reading from the same page. We want to create truly model sustainable buildings that are designed by the people and built by the people. Now, in their constructions, we look forward to working with all of you, unless some of you are not interested or have some other engagement to build them, whether you won or not. I want that to be very clear from the onset. So after we finish the design, we will move to the crowdsourcing the funds. As we are speaking, we don't have the money for building this. But that is all the reason why we have built the platform. If you've interacted with the platform, as my colleague Matano has said, we have the crowdfunding function. So we would be utilizing the crowdfunding function to fundraise for these design proposals, and then we go build them. On the other side, we have our in-house team that is doing the outreach. So we have the engagement with the institutions, the universities, and many of you have joined for the University of Nairobi. You are aware that you had, actually the invitation was emailed directly from the central management from the university's mailing system, showing you that already the university from the VC, the entire Senate management are fully behind this work. KU, the same. JQuat, we have done the outreach, but yet we are to really have a solid engagement with the management. And that is the intention, that all the institutions where we'll be working, we have the mandate to do this work. We are having ongoing conversations also with the government, the key other players like the National Construction Authority, different line ministries. We will be bringing on board corporates so that we run this as a really transformative empowerment program. We want to see that at the end of this work, all of you that at least have participated don't lack something to do. And we don't want you only to doing some job that is, underemployment. We really look forward to us doing something that is really transformative, that makes a difference using the skills that you have gained during your 4, 5, 6 years of learning in school, as well as the professional development you have gained through this period we have. So having said that, we have prepared a very condensed syllabus to run us through what are the key lessons. It's basically retooling. I know some of you have already picked some of the issues, the topics through your coursework. I have an experience a little bit in lecturing. So for those who are from Technical University, I lectured in Technical University for 4 years, 2013 to 2017. I am quite engaged with the University of Nairobi. Your chairman of the Department of Architecture is a very close colleague. I am a secretary of the AAK. So I know a bit of the curriculum. There is a bit of much on environmental design that you are taught in class. But then for some of you, they don't even come from the built environment background. So it is important for us that though some of us are knowledgeable in some of the areas, we need to have a common level of understanding. So please bear with us if it is a bit repetitive, some of the elements you already know. Let us create the environment that we can learn together on this platform, but also within your teams. Let us embrace disciplinarity. Why we are insisting that you are 6 to 10 and you work collaboratively is one of the mismatches that we have, responding to one of the mismatches that we have in the school. Because in school, you are trained, you do your project all alone, go to the site for those who are doing architecture, or if you are guys who are in electrical engineering, you learn electrical engineering, the other department, construction management, in silo. For 4 years, you are within the school, you do your own things alone. Then you are sent outside there in the field. There are those who are doing education, they just do education, they are not taught how to teach children. Or those who are doing environmental science, they do everything in silos. And when you come to the practice, especially in the built environment, you can't run a project alone. As an architect, you need all the other professionals. You need the civil structure engineers, you need the electrical mechanical engineers, you need the quantity surveyors, you need the planners, you need the environmental consultants. In some cases, you need also the social scientists to help you with doing baseline and looking at certain user issues. You need economists, you are working with your clients, are very diverse. So in the real, you need, of course, people with diploma. You need even untrained people who are the laborers. It is an ecosystem of partnership. So part of us insisting that you work together is informed by that reality that we must train and equip ourselves to the reality on the ground. For us to deliver, for example, this platform and this process, here we have economists in the office. We have IT professionals who are able to translate some of our vision to have a platform where we can interact more easily and register. You can imagine if all of you who are sending email and we scan through them and get back to you, how long it would have taken us. Because of those partnerships, we are able to design these things, this platform, we are able to get people to communicate. So everybody is important, whether you are doing anthropology, you are doing, nursing, whether you are doing, communication, you are doing architecture, we are all important. And I really want to urge us to find how we can get value from everyone's professional background and discipline. Then number two, beyond our technical professional training, we also have social skills. Some of us are very good, may not be good. For example, you may all be trained in architecture, but some of us may be so good in rendering. Some of us may be good in conceptualizing the form. Some of us may be so passionate about, just communication, writing it. Some of us, we have all different interests, different skills. So it is important that while you're working in the group, let us not only leverage on our technical skills, but also let's identify our strengths in terms of the soft skills that we have, because we need these soft skills interlinked with the technical skills to be able to create spaces that are of difference. And then that is how we also are able to create even programs and enterprises that are great. It would be excellent if some of the groups eventually, even beyond the challenge, end up become, organizations, become programs that you go ahead and, probably partner your 6 to 10, maybe the all of you, or probably 2 or 3 of you that you met through this process, you realize that is, you have certain connections, there are things you could do together, and go along and work together in the real marketplace to make a difference, drawing together your passions, drawing together your skills. So that is just my encouragement and aspiration, that as we begin and we walk along through this journey, let us see it not as just delivering a product, a graphically represented design that then you are scored and you won a few coins. The few coins there are just the motivation. The reality, what really we look at as the value is what we gain through the process and who we become out of this process. So having said that, allow me to quickly run through the prepared program and just explain exactly what it is in a bit details and how we are going to run out this for the next 3 days. I'm trying to see my file. Okay, there it is. So allow me to share my screen. Well, where is my screen now? Sorry, just hold on a second. I'm having a bit of an issue. Okay. Just a short one. Okay, share screen. There we go. Are you able to see my screen now? Can someone confirm?
Yes, almost right. I can see it.
Thanks, Masharia. So you you already saw this, but let me just explain the reasoning why this particular component and how we want to run it out. So during this week, we want to appreciate the issue of circular economy. This is an emerging concept. It is an emerging idea that reminds us of the importance of being efficient in terms of how we use resources. My colleague Hilary Matano just gave an overview of the challenge of waste. If we walk around in the city, towns where we are, I believe that all of us know that as a country, one of the main problems that we are facing is waste. We have waste in our estates, we have waste in our campuses. And if you look at waste, there are two issues. On one side, we have the impact of that waste. So for example, when it rains, we have our drainage systems logged. We have unsightly places that are not really good for us to see. They are also harmful for us. Sometimes, they are emitting pollutants that have a great effects on our health. So there are those dangers that we face. But on the other side, if you look at it, is that it is too expensive because everything that ends up being waste and is discarded, apart from polluting the environment and having those other health and side effects, it means we are wasting a lot of resources. Let's take an example. Every building, if you took steel, for example, just let's say 1 foot of steel that is wasted, or maybe, let me say steel might not be a major issue because of the scavenging, our youth go pick them and reuse them. Let's take a tile, for example. You have a broken piece of tile that is dumped. To make that tile, remember that there was extraction of material somewhere, that a lot of people, sweat, and many of us are still alive in our country. The challenges with mining, that hard labor under squalor conditions, we have those young people that really risk their lives to mine the resources so that manufacturers transport them long distance, spend a lot of energy, over 1,000 kilowatts of electricity to process these materials into products, transported by road to a long distance to the site so that we use them. So when you throw away these materials, we are wasting a lot of resources, that have been harnessed. And we are living in a context that we are having a challenge with the resources. So it is important for us that we envision a society where there is nothing that exists as waste. So the whole purpose of circular economy is to encourage keeping resources in continuous circulation. So what we want to understand through this particular module, number 1, on circular economy or circular design, is want to understand how our built environment can embrace that continuous flow of materials, reducing the generation of waste, and making every materials that are available purposeful for use. So we will go into the theory, a little bit of the background, what are the key principles, and then we look at what are the approaches, what are the practical ways of which we can, if we are thinking about designing the building, for example, the Nyonyesha Hub, what are the particular design principles that we can integrate in our design solutions to ensure that they are circular. Eventually, after we have all learned that, we also want to do a practical exercise because our projects are based on context. And if you look at your institutions of learning, many of you would recall that those who are still in school or those who have graduated, that you have beds, you have mattresses, you have waste all over within the campus, materials relying redundancy in your estate departments. Eventually, most of cases, they will end up being in the dump. If you go to the homes, the construction site, that is the same story. If you go to the manufacturing process, a tile that might be complete, just snipped off kidogo, it will be rejected by an architect on site. So those will be discarded. A lot is wasted on transport, in manufacturing, on site, but also in use. So the whole picture for us is we want to understand how can we bring back those resources that are underutilized, that are redundant, into good quality architecture, pieces of built function in the entire, whether it's a complete built product or certain elements of your product. So this module will help us understand all that so that we are equipped with the knowledge and the tools that we are able to use to make that a reality. Of course, once we are done with this week, we will go to the site where we are going to do our design, and you're working with the estate departments, or I think some call them facilities departments in your universities. You are going to walk around, do a mapping of what are the redundant materials that are available there. You already know some are broken furniture, some could be, in terms of timber, wood, different resources. Then we will be able to know what are the quantities, what are their status, and then look at how can those be repurposed, then they become part of your design solution, so that the building we are looking forward to building, the hubs, they must not be constructed fully of virgin materials. We have a gracious ambition that at least more than 50% of those buildings should be made from materials that have been recovered and repurposed for use. Whether you're looking at soil, you're looking at timber, all that. So the purpose of that particular module is to help us that understand. And then, of course, at the end of it, we look at what are the mapping tools, what are the audit tools that you will go use. So at the end of the training, once you've gone through this program, you will not only be able to do this, but if you want to go, for example, to a farm, work with a contractor or consultant, you can be sure you would be amongst the very few experts who understand circular economy, circular design. You can, on that basis alone, you can go to a construction firm and say, you just want to focus on helping them recover, manage waste, and repurpose them for proper utilization, either within site or off-site. So looking at this beyond the application only for this challenge. So that is number one. Then module 2, we are aware of climate change. It has been a topic issue. Right now, it is moving from theory and science and a political debate, or a high-level conference that the UN, the governments, presidents and ministers go attend in their boardrooms and talk about. It is something that we are living with in reality. So, for example, in our country, we know issues of droughts are here with us. Famine, we see animals dying. Tomorrow, the following day, we have the cases of the accidents in Kitui. Our whole bus is swept because of raging floods in a place that was a few days was completely dry and people struggling for water. So as we are living in such a context with changing climate, how do we design? How do we build our spaces to make them responsive to the changing climate? In two ways. Number one, we must make the building so strong enough that, okay, we are built within Nairobi, and some of us currently don't know that even Nairobi, for example, UN, even the main building, the tower that has been done, is sitting above a river, underground river. If the climate continued to really be changing significantly, what would happen if the water levels under that building suddenly rise by 1 meter? Is that building strong enough to be resilient to withstand that? What happens if the winds become so severe, the storm? So we want to think of how we would design our buildings and these hubs that we are creating to make them adapt to or withstand to any changing climatic conditions in their context. So if you're thinking of a building, a hub in Garissa University, with all the storm winds, with all that scorching heat of the sun, it can't be designed like the other block that you've designed for Maseno University within the Lake region, or the Technical University of Mombasa, the coastal zone, or the building that you've done for Karatina University, or you did at Kimathi, in the highlands of Kenya. So we need to think about those contexts of climate, how we make them. The other side of the climate change perspective we are going to be looking at is buildings, based on the data that is scientifically proving, is a major contributor to the emissions, carbon emissions that cause climate change, about 40%. So it means that then this sector also needs to reduce its carbon greenhouse gas emissions that we call mitigation. So what are the practical strategies that the buildings, the built environments, the spaces that we create can be contributing zero carbon emissions, zero greenhouse gas emissions, rather than contributing the 40%? That we call mitigation. And we would want to look at those key principles, those key strategies that can help us develop, build, design, of course, build and operate, and then later on, of course, decommission or dismantle buildings to make them having zero impact in terms of climate. So that particular module, the module designed for climate, will try to develop a deeper understanding on that issue of climate change, but also how we can respond to it in terms of the spaces that we are creating. Then the third module, design for health. Now, it is very interesting time for us to talk about this topic because all of us know that we are living in the middle of a pandemic, right? Okay. So COVID-19 is here with us, right? As we are facing COVID-19, many of us are now alive to the fact that the spaces that we create, we live in buildings. They can either contribute to us having better health outcomes, or they can make us sick, can continue to increase the severity or the levels of exposures of the pandemics. Things to deal with air pollutions, the materials that we choose. Some years back, for example, asbestos was the most preferred material, okay? Because of its very good qualities in terms of strength, the insulation properties that it had, both for heat, both for sound. But then this material was used in many buildings. Then we came to discover that this material has a lot of cancer-causing material, so it is carcinogenic. There are other many materials that we are still using in the buildings that cause cancer. Do we know about them? In school, when you are being trained, even for those of us who are in the built environment discipline, did anybody talk about these materials and health? How will you be able to identify their health impacts? How would you specify materials that are healthier, that can contribute to better human health outcome instead of worsening health? We, through this module, want to delve deeper into those issues so that we are well equipped to understand that materials, the things that we use in our buildings can either make us more healthy or they can make us sick. Then there is the other aspect of health, the ecosystem health. We live within a natural setting. So when we are building, we are creating our spaces, we are using our buildings, we are either also contributing to a poorer health of the nature, the natural ecosystem around us. We want to understand how can we heal more our planet, heal more our natural system rather than harming it through our construction processes. So that particular module designed for health is meant to help us delve deeper into those elements of how to create healthier spaces, both for human and for planetary health. And what are the practical tools so that when you're even specifying, for example, we are designing the Nyonyesha Hub in this particular edition 1. These are spaces created for children. Children are the most sensitive, the most vulnerable to unhealthy spaces. Some of you don't know, for example, if you were to choose like the cooking materials, carpet looks like a very nice material, but it is not healthy, it is not safe for the children. Some children are asthmatic. So what will we be specifying? If we are going to talk about repurposing some materials and we use, for example, maybe clothes or, textiles, and we put it in our furniture and we have a very nice design that is aesthetically appealing and you could score 90. But we want to understand what is that particular product made of? What is its impact? What are the chemicals ingrained in it? So we want to understand those so that we don't just create an amazing artistic piece of work that people will see, look like, wow. Okay, it should wow us, yes, but it also should not wow us at the expense of our health, human health, but also not the expense of our planet health. So that is the purpose of that particular module. And then the last module, design for justice. So Hilary, my colleague Matano mentioned about the issues of inadequacies that we have, the gaps. Of course, he didn't go into the statistics. If he was to give you the data, you will be worried. But I think already you have read a bit of the background we have given in the brief. For example, you're looking at all those figures. 16% of children are out of school because of disability, right? We have many of our sisters, and in this platform here, we have many of our female colleagues. God forbid, for whatever reason that some of them became pregnant and when they were not prepared. So do they have to suffer so much while some of the male, the male colleagues who are also responsible continue unabated with their studies and pursue their careers, and yet they have to struggle with taking care of children and balancing their studies, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about the facilities, the spaces they have to use. We have disabled people, different forms of disabled, who coming into our institutions are working. Do we bother seriously about creating the spaces that include them? Now, who builds the architectures that we design? Who constructs the products that we create? Remember, I mentioned from the beginning, the materials that we are using to construct, where do they come from? How are they sourced? How are they transported? Are we creating a marvelous piece of product or architecture or a space at the expense of lives of people that have died or that have been enslaved or that are not paid, who are so poor, But then we have that amazing building. Sorry, just hold on. I connect the charger. Yeah, Hillary connect for me. So those are the social issues that we are dealing with. We want to create spaces that their story narrative is fully encouraging. Not only, we want to look at those intricate things that are ignored. When we are building, are we going to be inclusive in terms of, are we, just in the processes of labor we are using, not only in extraction, processing material, but even when we are building, who are we building with? How are we building? What are we really encouraging rights and including everyone? So those are the issues of equity and social justice that we want to address. And our construction industry has not been very proactive in addressing these issues. So we want to transition to a sector that is truly sustainable in terms of health, in terms of social issues, in terms of environmental issues, in terms of how we use the resources. And of course, at the end of the day, also, we want to look at how we create economic opportunities, better livelihood for us, that about 80 plus or so of you who are participating in this challenge and the subsequent editions that we'll be running, as I said, are not really just underemployed or just doing something to pass, make a living, or just survive, but that you're doing something that you like. You can be like me. I'm not just an architect, but of course, I'm interested with a little bit of fee that I made earn here. For me, I'm enjoying my life, that I'm doing something that I really feel makes a difference. And this can be the story for us. We don't need to work like slaves that, wake up every morning to go do something and struggle doing it simply because you want to make a living. We can begin doing work that is meaningful for us, that makes us happy, that we go home to. That if we are dead 10 years, 30, 100 years down the line, we can still be remembered for that we did something, of course, earned a living in the process, but we contributed with the skills, we contributed with the knowledge, the passions that we have to leave the world a better place than we found it. So we want to run through those modules during this period to help us be equipped so that when you got into the design, you don't come to us with a very nice, wow, as I said, piece of architecture, but then you have no idea what the story behind it. You can't tell the story behind it. We want all of us to be able to tell this story, to embrace that level of thinking, and not only embrace it and talk about it theoretically, but that we are able to deliver it. And colleagues, why is this a very beautiful story? Imagine that we'll be having 8 solutions across the country. If you think of the universities, the learning institutions, the public spaces we're talking about, imagine God allowed us, we would build the 500 facilities. Think of it that every person in this country will be having, at least within their vicinity, a facility they can go walk to, look at, and see the reality of what climate change is, the opportunities around climate change. They can see the opportunities around circular economy. They can see the opportunities about healthy living, all these within their neighborhood. And they can come and say, wow, I can also build my next house to be sustainable. I can build my next office to be sustainable. Oh, who are the people who can help me achieve that? Of course, the 80 of you and the plus that we will have engaged. And remember, Also on our platform, we are enlisting also the people who have not only the materials, but we're also enlisting the service providers. So they can also come to you and really say, these are the people behind this. That is how we want to create the opportunities beyond what we can do only as Legal Green, to open up the space that more people, as they see, interact with, feel with the quality architecture that we have created, they are inspired to make a conscious choice to build green, to live green. And that opens job opportunities. So in there is where our vision comes, that we believe that by the end of the Nyonyesha program, with the 500 facilities created, we have over 30% decent job for our young people. Not just talking theoretically. We believe it is possible. And we are counting on you, having understood the spirit behind this, to take it so seriously. So we don't have to push you to come for the program. We don't have to push you to go, go read. I know in school you take a whole month to design a project, but in the office, we have a week sometimes to do that design and deliver it. And it's not only the thing you're delivering, you are preparing a proposal, doing tenders, running to site, and managing this. You have a whole semester sometimes to write a term paper, but in the practice, we don't have that time. You have 3 hours, you want to run through this, do a quick analysis, interpret it, and doing the other things. So we have this condensed 3 days for us not to do all that we have been doing for a month. We want to accelerate our learning, and learning by doing. So I hope that we are going to collaborate with that understanding to make ourselves equipped, not only to design a marvelous hub, but also to be prepared for the practice, so that we begin changing that narrative, that our young people coming out of our schools or colleges are not prepared for the marketplace. We would be able to demonstrate to the country that you guys are prepared. And colleagues, imagine that your solutions will be being watched globally, nationally, that if your head of state is coming to launch the facilities that you guys have designed and have you built with your hands, what is the story you are telling him? You want to tell him that, see, this is what we can do. So if you put your kazi mzaani pesa, don't only put all of them, can take 30% or what percent, not to go clean only the channels. We can take some of those waste from the channels and build these pieces. Put it also on programs that create jobs for educated but unemployed people, not just the youth that don't have skills, that need hard, heavy labor, that we have a process. So take it seriously and let us see what we can create. Now, I go to the program, now the last bit of my presentation. How are we going to run this training session? We have given ourselves today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Now, we are going to have every morning, we are going to have brief sessions online, virtually together, which we are going to facilitate. So for each of these modules, so for example, we would be having an introductory brief lecture that will set the ground, okay, of the topic. Then after we have shared in that lecture in the morning sessions, we will allow you to do self-learning. So we are going to provide the resources. We are going to provide short videos. Our materials are going to comprise of videos that we will upload on the YouTube channels, and we'll expect you to go watch through them, to pick the lessons by yourself, at your own time, so that once we have spent the time together, say 3 or so hours together, then the rest of the time you can spend individually or also in group, learning by yourself and organizing your session based on your team creativity. Yeah, you could probably set by yourselves, let us go internet, watch these things, interact. Then why don't we convene for an hour session together at this particular time as a group and discuss what we picked, as you begin thinking also how you can apply them later on in the design that you're going to work. So that will leave for you for flexibility so that you self-guide yourself and learn. So we're going to provide both files, document publications. We're also going to provide videos that are going to be the resources. We will both upload them on the resources interface within Submitter, but also we'll upload them onto the YouTube, and the links we are going to provide them for every session. So that is how we are going to run this session until Friday. Now, once we are done with the learning for up to Friday, we will go back to now the program, which you had seen in your brief. So next week, we will start the design phase. So we will start the design phase in terms of you now going to the site, the real site where your hub is going to be, looking at the site, doing an analysis, taking the inventory, also beginning at the same time as you analyzing the technical things, also looking at what are the materials that are there on site, what are also the possible materials that will be coming from outside that you can integrate in your design. So those will be happening concurrently. You design, prepare your proposals. You will be using the interface, the digital platform. Of course, so that you avoid this issue of somebody has shared a file that is 50 MB and you want to download it forever, you would utilize the online portal to upload and share your files. And you can only see them within your group. So the interesting thing, and my colleague Felix is going to briefly just run us through the system, just briefly. The other groups will not be able to see your proposal until the final submission. So you will interact with that space, use that platform, and whatever other features, if you also have other tools that you want to use for collaboration, you are encouraged to utilize them. Design, back and forth, we review. We will be available with a few teams of members, to mentor you. If you have queries, certain points, you are reading through and you have questions, you want guidance, we will be available during that process to walk along with you. We're not saying you must have 1 hour session with, mentors or ask this point. It is free. If you feel you're okay to do everything by yourself, you don't need to interact with your challenge, well and good. We wait until you make your final submission. If you think you need a walkthrough or support in any area during the course of the design as you're working through it, we would be available. We are ourselves as Nico Green, we are also onboarding the colleagues and experts from the collaborative and within the space to support you. If you think also you have certain, your lecturers or so mentors that you want to propose, we also free, propose them to us. We will be able to reach out to them and see how we can work together with them. So colleagues, with that many remarks, allow me to now invite Felix just for quickly to run us through the system, and then we can take questions. And then soon we will wrap up the session for today. And we will be sharing now the links for the materials, the resources for the part of today's session as you prepare yourself for more in-depth engagement tomorrow and the days after. So allow me to welcome my colleague. He will use this same platform to just run through the system. All right, there you go.
You're already sharing the screen?
Not yet. Let me start sharing. So, all right. Yes, media. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'll run you through the system, how it works. As for now, I believe everyone knows how to log in, how to register to the system. So I'll just log in with a sudo account as a student. Yeah, when you log in, this is the interface you'll find. We have the dashboard. We have a menu, drop down my group. We're still in the dashboard. We have submissions and we have resources. So I'll take you through first the submission. So for the submission, you add the submission. So do you have the names for the submission? Like first?
Yeah.
So let's assume it's first submission. Then a little bit of the description. And you add. So this is the submission I just created. You can edit. So if you view this submission, it will bring you to this window. We have files. So this is where you upload the files for that particular submission. So assuming I wanted to upload a file for this submission, I select which type of file, either video, image, or a document. So let's assume I want to upload a document.
Recording in progress.
I did that. I chose. What did you? Okay.
After choosing the file, you submit.
Milka and Mosweta, kindly mute.
So after submitting, you will get your file submission has been uploaded successfully. Then you close. So if you go back to submission, this is the submission I'm working on. You'll see this is the file. Type you can delete it. So this will be accessed from the admin side and be graded. This is where the gradings will show, and this is where the comments of the grading will show. Yeah, the next menu is the resources. Here you will find the resources for the you'll find the resources, all the resources you need for your competition, references and everything. Yeah, like this one is the design brief. You can either download it or view it still. Yeah, I believe that's the system and that's how it works. In case there's any question, yeah, just drop a message. I'll help.
Call that WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that summarizes the presentation for now. So we can now take questions and comments before we wrap up the session today and move into now work. Right. Comments and questions before we conclude today's session and agree on the way forward. Of course, remember we'll take a group photo as requested by Matano. Good. So any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead. That is Janet.
Yes. One of my group members has tried to register, but is from KCA University. So, and there is no option for that. What will he do?
Okay, sorry for that. We're going to add the KCA universities right now, and she can be, he or she would be able to register. You can inform her in the next 10 minutes or so. She or he can register. And in any case, because we started with a bit of key the universities we had reached. If there is any similar issue, just drop a message on the group, and we will be able to act on it immediately. So right now, as you're speaking, the university has been added. He or she can register as a user. Then as the admin, once he's registered a user, you can add him or her onto your group. Thanks, Janet. Anyone else? I hope that answers your question, Janet.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, I have an issue with the adding part. Every time I go to add a member to my group, there is a page full of code and I'm not able to add members anymore.
Which is your group?
Origami.
Origami. Are you, actually, now Origami, you only had one member. So it is one of the groups that we have reorganized.
No, we have 6 members. On Submittable right now, you check, we have 6 members.
And there are new members you want to add to the 6?
Yes.
Are they already registered as users?
Yes.
When did they register? And
I think about 4 or 5 days ago.
Can you provide their names on the WhatsApp group chat
Okay, no problem.
of their names and yeah, their codes? Then we look at, because we have already reassigned the groups. We look at if they are already reassigned to other groups, and if that be, we see how we reorganize the groups. Of course, number one, we prioritize where the groups are formed by yourselves. But where those people who don't have a group, then we match them, because the dynamics of group work is that you have understanding. So just text their names on the chat, then and on the group, and then we'll act to them.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My question was,
Yep.
my request was that
Yes,
you produce the. My request was that you produce the list of the registered members so that we can know if all our members are registered from your side. Yeah.
Okay, Francis, you see what you're trying to do as we are working on this particular challenge is to eliminate as much paperwork as possible. So on the platform on submitter.endelevu.africa, I believe if you're the admin of that particular group, you're able to go to it right away and check if the members that you would wish to be part of your group or who you are registered with for your group are part of that particular group. If they are not, you raise that inquiry or that issue with us, then we sort it out. Does that respond to you, Francis?
Okay.
Maybe to add what Matano is saying, Francis, you are a group admin, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the moment, because all the groups now, what we did up to yesterday night was to update, reorganize all the groups. So if you go to your group, go check, as Matano has said, confirm if all the people are there. And if they are not, then you would be able to add. What we could do as also we're moving along based on the other request is that we could see if we could be able to share a full a list of the participants for now and their institutions. But I don't know whether that is of essence for you guys to know who are the other people from your universities. No, is this? I think it's not of interest for you at this moment. As long as your groups are available, confirm that all your team members are there, that should suffice. But if there need be, in due time, we will discuss and look at that. If there is need be to share the list of all those who are registered and participating, we can do that. We'll consider and see if we can share that. All right, Francis, you are okay?
Yes,
So-
I'm okay.
So to that extent, of course, building on that, I also request all group leaders after this call, please go to the portal, check your groups, if all the group members that you intended to have are part of your group. And if they also the people that you have been assigned, for those ones who were not, were not able to get all the group members, we have assigned you members. Just also reach out to them and get to familiarize and know with them and know that they are okay to be part of your group, and you're okay also be with their group. And let us confirm that today, especially this morning. Let's do review, confirm the group so that we affirm the groups. By close of today, we know that we are all set with our groups. We are okay working with those group members. All right. Shikuku or Kenan, you have a question? Who raised their hand? Sorry. Chikuku, you've raised your hand. You go ahead.
Yes, I have. I hope everyone is okay. Now, I have two situations. One,
Yes.
there's a lady from JQuat who registered and was put into Francis Masharia's group. And
What-
there's a guy, she's called, wait, hold on. Ray, it's called Ray. I'll need to catch up with you guys and get the exact details, but I'd requested her to register, but she was put in Francis Masharia's group. And then there's a guy called Malvin from Technical University of Kenya who wanted to be in another group, but was put in my group. So I don't know, will we reach you guys after this perhaps and we figure that out?
Yeah, again, I encourage us, let's use the platform, because we have added all of you to one WhatsApp group and we are also there. So we are able to see that communication real time. Just drop that, the details of the group, what you're saying, this so and so would want to move from this group to this group. And of course, sharing the details, then we'll, harmonize. Once we have gotten all the requests for the changes, what need to be, we'll need to harmonize them all once so that we conclude the group, as I said. Good. And Kenan is asking, is it possible to change the site of the project after the training session is done? Yes, it is possible. After the training session is done, it is possible to change the site. I know, for example, Kenan, where is your group? Where was your site registered? Is it UN or it was where? You want to share? You want to change from where to where, for example? UN. From UN to which site? To which institution? Okay, it was registered at UN. You want to change to JQuat. Okay, yeah, it is possible. It is possible after the registration. In fact, I think since the groups shall have been formed by the close of today, agree as a group also where your site is, so that that can be changed by tomorrow. Particularly for Shikuku's group, we have, who is this sister? She's Stephanie. Stephanie Nyakio was the only UN student that had registered initially before the extension of the deadline. And since she was alone, we are discussed and we placed you in Shikuku's group. But now, since we have many UN team members and Shikuku's group was big, Shikuku, your group is Mweusi, right?
Yes, it is.
We actually moved Stephanie to be with other UN group members who had actually were not having a group. So we reassigned her from Mweusi group to another group with a site also at UN, because we thought it might be a bit tricky for her. So of course, Shikuku, then that means you are free to have your project site at JQuat, and any others that you may think that you are comfortable with changing your institutional site. You are open to, you are welcome to do that, but please ensure that you agree on within today, so that by tomorrow we know, we lock out the issues of the groups. We know we have all the groups settled. We have all the project institutions and sites are settled. At least end of today, tomorrow. Why it is important tomorrow to know because from next week, as I said, you will be doing your site analysis and you'll be doing auditing, waste mapping to find out what to use. So we need to be clear as we are reaching out to also the universities to liaise with the estate departments to support you in your work, site work and analysis, to be clear on how many groups and how many students actually will be doing that particular exercise, and they are from which institutions, because some of you, you are from different institutions. So we need to have a very clear communication to the management to help them facilitate you in that work. That is why we need that to be wrapped up today, so that tomorrow we are firmed up and we can begin that conversation early with the responsible management teams to facilitate your work from next week. So I hope that is clear. Okay, is there any other question? I don't see any on the chat. Anyone wants to talk? Ask a question? All right. I'm assuming silence means we are okay. So then we're going to wrap up. How do we register the sites? The sites are in the group. So in the group, when the group admin was creating the group, there's an option for creating, giving the name of your project site. So it is there, that is when you register your project site. There's a place for creating project site. You give the name of the institution where your project site will be based. So confirm with your group admin, okay? That answers that question that has been posted on the chat by Kari. Okay, I think then the next steps, I want us to agree. We set the meetings for the morning sessions to be at 8. I saw a number of you were late. I understand that some students even normally struggle with their 8 classes. They end up attending at 8:30. So inakaa mlileta class kwa this session, which is a bad thing, I would want to say, because right now we are training and preparing ourselves for the marketplace. One of the things within the marketplace is that the reality in the marketplace, if you turn down that, you're having your first meeting with your clients or your customers, or you are going to look for the job and you are that late, it gives a different impression. It's not professional. So you would be regarded either you are not serious or you are not taking your client or your partner seriously. And people will not be so kind with you when you take them for granted, you take their time, you take their sacrifices for granted. And we have many excuses in Kenya. Oh, so traffic, nini. That is not professional. So I really want us to agree on what is the workable time for us, and let us keep that time. Some of us, you can imagine, we were in office up to almost 10 p.m. yesterday. They still went home and they were back in the office early enough to be able to prepare waiting for you. So what does it mean if we're coming late? It doesn't mean, it means that we don't respect or value the other's time, and we don't want to have that professional kind of, that is not the way we want to carry ourselves as professionals. We want to be respect each other. And the same applies in your group. If you guys agree that you're going to have a group work meeting a certain time, let's all show. It doesn't make sense for 3 members to show up, then wait for the other 5 members, or 5 members to show up and wait for 2 members for 30 minutes, 1 hour. That is demoralizing and is not respectful. So we must be punctual and keep time, okay? So I want to ask the question, are we okay, all okay with starting at 8, or we would propose we start a bit later? And if we want to start a bit later, how late? So I will give 2 options. No, 3. We start at 8, start at 8:30, or start at 9, and let's agree. Once we agree on that, that is what we are going to do for tomorrow, Thursday, and the Friday sessions. You can say, or just let's post it on chat. How many are for 8:30? Just post on chat 8:30, 8:08, 8:30 or 9. Post on the chat, and then we'll see majority, and then we decide on that right away. Okay, they are coming. So far 9:01, 8:31. 9 seems to be rigging.
9, 6, 9, 7.
Okay, 9 have it.
9, 8.
So we start 9 tomorrow, 9 a.m. On tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, all will be meeting at 9. So kindly let us all purpose to be there by 9 a.m. We start, have the overview as I already shared, then we can plan our other engagement. We will try to make our sessions 9 to 11 so that you can now begin in your groups, can plan your personal, training time and group work. You can plan between now 11 to the rest of the day. So tomorrow we'll have 9-11, Thursday 9-11, and Friday 9-11. Should there be any need for adjustment, we will communicate on the group. But as it is, we stick to 9 to 11. We will use the same link that was sent for all those 3 days. Then we are going to be sharing in the course of the day, the first set of the videos that you can watch. Please go to Endelevu.Africa website or go to the Play Store, download the Endelevu app, and kindly interact with it. We will also appreciate your feedback on anything, how to improve on it. Go to Nico Green website, YouTube channel link, and you would be able to find the videos that we are uploading there. Check the resources page as well in the course of the day. And once we uploaded the content, we'll also be able to communicate on the WhatsApp and find the content. To my colleagues, you have anything to add?
Having us been taken through the process and being inducted on what and what not to do during the process, I believe all of us, having registered and gotten to this point, we are ready to carry this forward to the end. And I wish and look forward to working with you guys to realize your designs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Felix, you have a word? Parting shot. Lynn, you have a word? All right. Okay. So we can all kindly, if you're in a position to, unless you are in an unsupportive environment, we kindly request that we turn on our videos all so that we can take a group photo. And we are kindly requesting also for consent that we can use this photo for any of our functions, our communications, including posting on social media. If you don't consent, please let us know. Is there anyone who is not okay with using this photo we are going to take on social media? Okay, I think somebody who is not okay has dropped off. So if you're not okay, you can just drop off. All right, so we can take the photo. Just give us a minute. Oh, where is the screen recorder? Take from there and also take from there. Where is it? It was not. Screen recorder. Okay, just hold on a second. We almost. Control. Okay, one more, last one. And we'll share this also on WhatsApp for yeah, we are going to share this on WhatsApp. If you also want to nini it, you can also do your posting on wherever your social media, if you're excited of this, and tag us along on the Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, feel free. All right, we are done. Great to have you all. Have a lovely day. Let us use the WhatsApp. We were a bit worried. You guys are so quiet on WhatsApp. You guys are not as old as me. I'm also trying to be alive to the digital communication. Let us interact more. Also with some light moments. Musikue too serious. You can also throw in one occasionally jokes. Great. So we catch up in a short while online. Now we are free to leave at our own pleasure. All right.
Excuse me, one final request.
Yes.
For some reason, I've tried the WhatsApp link to add into the group and it's not working. Would you be kind to? Yes. There's a link that was sent by a text.
Yes.
No, to add me to the Endelevu WhatsApp group.
Okay.
And it's failed.
Okay, Matano will try to send you the link and see if it works. If it's an issue, just call the line. If it doesn't work again, call the line. We see how to fix it bilaterally. Okay. All right. Any other question? If you have any questions, just feel free to drop onto the WhatsApp group and or call. You have the 0772-612, which is the number on the brief. Just call anytime. We are the few people that are okay to receive even calls at night. So just feel free to call anytime you have a query. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good day. Check on the communication on the WhatsApp as well as the resources we are putting on the resources folder. So we shall end for now. And we meet physically tomorrow at 9 a.m.
We meet virtually.
Virtually. Yeah. We'll organize our physical meetings some of these days. Great. Bye.